There's a secret living under your raised bed right now, and most gardeners never think to check for it. Not a pest, not a disease. Something that could be the difference between a garden that struggles every single season and one that practically grows itself. I'm talking about worms. But not just any worms, thrown in any old way. Today I'm going to show you how to turn your raised bed into a 5-star worm hotel. The kind these little wigglers never want to leave. And once they move in, they start working for you around the clock for free while you sleep, while you're at church, while you're visiting the grandkids. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes worms stay, what makes them pack up and leave, and one simple trick most garden channels never mention that can double your worm population in weeks. So stay with me, because tip number 4 is the one that changes everything. Welcome back to Evergreen Garden Tips, the home for beginner gardeners who want big, beautiful harvests without spending a fortune to get there. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found us. Pull up a chair, grab your coffee or your tea, and get comfortable. And to my regulars, my green-thumbed family who show up week after week, thank you for being here again. You all make this channel what it is. Before we dig in, if you're new here, consider joining our little garden family by subscribing. It's free, and it means you won't miss the tips that could save your plants and your wallet this season. No pressure at all, just an open invitation. Now let's get our hands dirty. Segment 1. Why most raised beds are actually worm desserts. Here's something nobody tells you when you build a raised bed. That fresh soil you bought in bags, the kind that smells clean and looks perfect, is actually one of the worst environments for worms. It's sterile. It has no life in it. It's like moving into a brand new house with no food in the fridge and no neighbors on the street. Worms don't just need dirt to live in, they need a whole community. And if you don't build that community for them, they will either die off quietly or never show up in the first place. Most beginner gardeners think worms just appear naturally over time. And sure, maybe a few wander in from the yard. But if you want a real, thriving population, the kind that aerates your soil, breaks down waste, and leaves behind castings that work better than any fertilizer you can buy, you have to invite them properly. Think of it less like gardening and more like hosting. You wouldn't invite guests over and give them an empty room with nothing to eat or sleep on. Worms are the same. Segment 2. The layering method. They never show you. Most videos will tell you to just toss some compost on top and call it a day. But here's the layering trick that actually keeps worms staying long-term instead of passing through and leaving. Start from the bottom of your raised bed with a layer of coarse material. Think small twigs or straw. This creates airflow underneath, so the bed never turns into a swampy, airless mess that suffocates worms. On top of that goes a layer of finished compost, not raw kitchen scraps, finished compost. This is the part people skip, and it's costly. Raw scraps sitting right against plant roots can actually repel worms in the early stage because of the heat they generate as they break down. Above the compost, add your garden soil mixed with shredded cardboard or brown paper. I know that sounds strange, but worms are drawn to cardboard almost like it's dessert. It holds moisture, it's easy for them to move through, and it slowly breaks down into rich material. Finally, on the very top, a layer of mulch. Not just for looks, this keeps the soil temperature steady, which matters more to worms than people realize. Big swings in heat and cold will drive them away faster than almost anything else.
Segment 3. The moisture test nobody talks about. Now here's something even seasoned gardeners get wrong. Worms breathe through their skin, which means they need moisture to survive, but too much moisture drowns them just as fast as too little dries them out. Here's a simple test you can do with your hand right now, no tools needed. Grab a small handful of soil from your bed and squeeze it gently. If water drips out between your fingers, it's too wet. If it crumbles apart and falls like dust, it's too dry. What you want is for it to hold its shape like a sponge that's been wrung out, just barely damp, holding together but not soggy. That's the sweet spot where worms thrive. A lot of beginners assume more watering equals healthier soil. But overwatering a raised bed is one of the fastest ways to push worms out entirely, because it pushes oxygen out of the soil too, and worms need that oxygen just like we do. Now, before we get into the next part, which is honestly my favorite tip in this whole video, I want to ask you something. If you've learned even one new thing so far, do me a quick favor and tap that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more beginner gardeners just like you. And if you've got a raised bed already, drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever actually seen worms in your soil, or is your bed still quiet down there? I read every single comment, and I'd love to know where you're starting from. Also, if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next in this channel, because we've got a lot more money-saving, plant-saving tips on the way. Alright, let's keep going. Segment 4, Feeding your worms for free. Here's where you actually start saving money instead of spending it. You do not need to buy worm food from a store. Your kitchen is already producing it every single day, and most people throw it straight in the trash. Vegetable peels, coffee grounds, eggshells, banana peels, all of these are worms' favorites. But there's a right way and a wrong way to add them. Never dump a big pile all at once. Worms can only process so much at a time, and a large pile of scraps will start to rot and smell before they get to it, which attracts the wrong kind of visitors, flies, gnats, sometimes even rodents if your bed isn't covered well. Instead, bury small amounts, maybe a handful at a time, a few inches under the surface, and rotate where you bury it each time. One corner this week, another corner next week. This spreads the worms out evenly across your whole bed instead of clustering them in one spot, and it means every part of your raised bed gets the benefit of their work, not just one lucky section. A quiet tip here, avoid meat, dairy, and anything oily. Worms cannot process it, and it will rot before it ever becomes food for them. Segment 5, The things that are quietly chasing your worms away. This part might sting a little, because some of you may be doing these things without even realizing it. Chemical fertilizers are one of the biggest worm repellents there is. Even the ones labeled safe for plants can be harmful to worms, because worms absorb whatever is in the soil directly through their skin. If you've been using synthetic fertilizer and wondering why your worm population never grows, this is very likely why. Tilling is another one. I know it feels productive to dig deep and turn the soil, but every time you do that in a bed with worms, you're disturbing their tunnels, and often injuring or killing them directly. Raised beds actually don't need heavy tilling the way ground soil does. A light top surface loosening is usually enough. And lastly, letting your soil dry out completely, even once, can set your worm population back weeks. They will burrow deep to survive, and some simply won't make it. Consistency matters more than perfection here. Segment 6, The trick that doubles your worm population. Alright, this is the one I promised you at the very beginning, so let's get into it. Most people think the worm population grows only through breeding, and while that's part of it, the real secret is creating what I call a resting zone. This is a small, undisturbed section of your raised bed, maybe just one corner, that you never dig in, never walk on, and never disturb. No planting directly there, no digging for scraps, nothing. You simply let it sit. Why does this work so well? Worms need safety to reproduce. If every part of your bed is constantly being poked, watered unevenly, or dug into, it creates ongoing stress, and stressed worms slow their reproduction dramatically. But give them one small, quiet, undisturbed pocket of the bed, and that becomes their nursery. From there, their population steadily spreads outward into the rest of your bed on its own, without you doing anything extra. It sounds almost too simple, but this single change is what separates raised beds with a handful of worms from raised beds absolutely full of them. Segment 7, Seasonal care, keeping them through winter and summer. Worms don't disappear in the off-season, they just need a little help adjusting. In the hot summer months, add an extra layer of mulch. This keeps the top of the soil from overheating, since worms will retreat deep underground or die off if the surface becomes too hot for too long. In winter, especially for those of you in colder areas, a thick layer of straw or fallen leaves over your bed acts like a blanket. Worms will naturally move deeper into the soil during the cold months, but that insulation keeps the top layers from freezing solid, which protects both them and the beneficial microbes living alongside them. The goal every season is the same: steady moisture, steady temperature, and minimal disturbance. So there you have it. A raised bed that isn't just soil and plants, but a living, breathing little ecosystem working for you every single day. When you get this right, you'll notice it. Your soil will look darker, richer, it'll smell earthy instead of flat. Your plants will need less fertilizer, because the worms are quietly making their own. And over time, you'll spend less money trying to fix problems that a healthy worm population would have prevented in the first place. If this video helped you, even just a little, that comment section below is where I'd love to hear from you. Tell me which tip you're trying first, the resting zone, the layering method, or the moisture test. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because Evergreen Garden Tips is all about helping you grow more while spending less, one simple tip at a time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I'll see you in the next one.